And good morning, Hoosier Nation, and welcome to another edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After the 2023 exhibition games. I'm your host, Chad Schwarzkopf. Here with me is Martha the Mop Lady. In this show, we're going to look back at Indiana's two exhibition wins, a win on the calendar, but a win not in the record book. Games that you always need in the seasons to kind of fine-tune things after a summer of going against each other. It's always nice to get a feel for how you're going to look against different competition, get some stuff on the tape, and figure things out. Get into film sessions with the coaches and hash things out. And it's always a tough thing to do, to look at these games and try to be as objective as possible, because things are going to be rusty. Players are going to be rusty, especially on a team that IU has like this, that there's a lot of new faces and new guys to the program, new guys to each other, and they need to build chemistry. It's going to change as we go through this season. And so some good things that we've seen, some things that need some improvement, but overall for me, feeling pretty good about these two games. The UND game, IU finishes up 74-52, and then the Marion game, IU wins 94-61. UND game kind of off to a rough start. Thought the second unit kind of came in and really settled things down in the first half. Got the ball moving a little bit better. First unit was just kind of forcing some things, missing a lot of easy bunnies. Defense was strong throughout, though, I will say. One moment where they got caught in a bad situation in the second half. It was good to see rotation from all the players that found the man that they needed to guard, and it led to a turnover. So that was great to see. Offensively, things got settled down. At one point, UND even went to a zone, and I liked the way Indiana kind of switched on that, and we saw X kind of get off to the races and kind of really push the pace. And overall, that's kind of something that we learned in that first game, was Indiana's going to try to push the pace as much as they can in these games. Martha, your overall thoughts in that first exhibition game?
Yeah, I mean, so the thing that stuck out for me was the defensive. I thought we really good there. That's what's going to carry these. I think with our Lang, this squad being so new, it took them a while. Get used to each other often, right? So many new faces. X coming back, our quarterback guard. That's going to take a little while to mesh. But I think the one thing that we can count on night in and night out is going to be our defensive effort, especially with the length that we have out there. And I thought that was pretty good across the board. I thought obviously our front court sort of carried us against UND. I think it was something like 85% of our points were 2-point shots, and a lot of those came from down on the front court. So there's kind of the aspect of it to me too, like in a football game, right? You don't want to show them everything, right? Especially in an exhibition game. This was game one, so let's keep it vanilla. Let's get used to playing each other. So was there some rust? Certainly. I think that's to be expected. But the thing that encouraged me was the defensive effort. I think from kind of from wire to wire, especially in the second half. That's the thing I kind of look back on and be like, yeah, man, this team's going to be a problem for anybody. Even when the offense is struggling, we can look at that defensive versatility, especially on the front court with guys like Ware and Renew and Mbako. So, and even Gabe Cupps, I thought he had a really, really solid, and I know we'll get into players individually, but thought he had a solid first game effort. So I think some exciting things specifically on the defensive end.
Yeah, and I think definitely some great adjustments going into the Marion game overall too. Marion was definitely a smaller team, but man, that team could shoot the ball. Marion game led off to just quite a hot hand shooting the three-pointer. Really something that I wouldn't fault IU, because for the most part, guys were staying at home. They were just kind of making them. Obviously, they cooled off in the second half. IU was able to settle down. And that was even kind of something as we kind of maybe move towards talking about things that are different between these two games that we saw, maybe improvements and stuff. And one of the things that was really talked about in the first game was that IU didn't shoot many 3-point shots in that first game. There weren't many attempts in the UND game. and a lot more in the second game. But just overall, they kept that intensity up. Got to see some great things from second unit guys, like you said. Gabe Cupps getting in there in that second game as well, forced a turnover in the first 10 seconds that he was in. But again, I think a good build off from the previous game. Your general thoughts on, again, the Marion game?
Yeah, I think it was where water found level with Marion's 3-point shooting. You look at where they shoot. I think they shot close to 40 pointers, something like that, and made 11. So it felt like most of those makes from the first half. And so to me, it was more of a water foul. So we had some obviously hits from the state that were playing in assembly hall, maybe an extra chip over to motivate. They wanted to go into assembly play well. But again, you look to your point. I think the offense stepped forward, especially the second. I'm really encouraged. McKenzie, Mbako, three of them from the land. Stearns during game one. Khalil Ware's utility. That guy can still make some of those shots. He's so again. I know we're getting players. Just some encouraging nuggets there offensively that maybe we didn't game one. And I think that's really key to order after water found as Marion's 3-point shooting.
Yeah. You go ahead and you were starting to talk about players, and let's go ahead and get into those players. And McKenzie Mbako, I think, definitely is going to be. He's an impressive player. He's got amazing instincts. He's one of those that makes everything look easy. A lot of times when he's going to the rim, I see some things that I remember from Romeo where it looked too easy almost for him, like he wasn't putting much effort in, but that's just what he is. And the 3-point shot, while it wasn't there necessarily in the first game, was definitely there for him. Like you said, in the second game where he went 3 for 4, he was 5 for 8 from the field, made both of his free throws. That was another thing between the two games. Indiana shot the free throws a lot better at 84% in the second game, and even at a high volume, it was 21 of 25. But McKenzie Mbako is going to be a special thing. The one thing that I think you see from him that needs improvement still is his defense. And that's a common thing for freshmen to have to get over, especially in a system that's put so much emphasis on it. And IU does a lot of switching this year on it because they have the athleticism and the length to disrupt people with that switching. And there were some times where he got a little lost on those switches, was ball watching, wasn't quite in the positions. Maybe his communication was off in that sense, but only no concern on my end for him with that, because he will get better with that. And not to say it was bad, again, just trying to nitpick and find something that needs improvement from him. But very excited to see what we get from him throughout the year. Your thoughts on McKenzie?
Yeah, I think he was kind of a question for me coming in, because obviously something happened to our board, and you wonder where he's at. But to your like that's just what a natural ability. I mean, this guy has one of the best shots I've seen from a freshman in Indiana. Such a natural shot. There's any given night, you can go out. I think score 25 plus, right? To your point, defensively, it's got to be such an for a freshman, and I think the advantage that Indiana has their length, right? So it's got to be such a good thing to have the length we have to allow freshmen to get playing defense at this level. Such adjustment, so many new faces. I think the advantage I use is their athleticism and length to work to adjust.
Yeah, and you kind of talked about him a little bit there. We'll kind of get into the other newcomer in the starting lineup, Khalil Ware, and the kind of discussion with him was always his motor. And how was he going to get up and down? What kind of effort were we going to get from him? And I do see he does get a little tired going up and down. I mean, he is a big guy. He's moving a lot. But like his production, like his intensity, like his lack of fear on switching on defense, because he's going to get a lot of the smaller guys, is a great rim protector. And even better, what we got to see a little glimpse of in the second game was his 3-point shooting, getting out there and shooting the three. He was 1 for 2. if a lot of these big guys that we have, this front court for Indiana continues to step out and shoot threes and space the floor like this is great. This is something we haven't seen and everything. I mean, just looking through, talking a little bit of stats, but if you look at the stats for that second game, the Marion game, you've got every single person in the starting lineup attempting a three. Now, the scary side of that, the only ones that made threes were our front court, our two guards, Xavier Johnson and Trey Galloway, but went 0 for 3 from 3, whereas the rest of the players went, let me see, that would be 6 for 9. It was our front court from 3. So that's very interesting. But Kel'el Ware, I like what I see from him. I like his court awareness, really there, ready to receive those alley-oops. Had a great one from Gabe Cupps in the second game. Gets down the field, sets great pick and rolls. So going to be great to have that big guy underneath. Your thoughts on Kel'el Ware?
I loved comments on him, especially after the Marion game. I think where he's been really transparent, pressing him behind the scenes, right, and some of the storyline that came in with him. From Oregon, I love what he talked about challenging him publicly, and saying, hey, we know what the storylines are for you to change, and after he had the good news, Marion, what he just said, man, in practice, challenging in practice. It's good to see him respond like that. I mean, you look at some of the results, and you're like, if you can translate that to Big Ten play, I mean, there's no reason you're not 101 and done really early in the draft. I think if that happens, it's a really good thing for Indiana. And what he said, I'm curious to see how he responds better to bigger guys. So that'll be the answer in weeks. We're gonna know it quickly, but you've gotta like the way he's on it so far. So I'm really encouraged about both on the defensive end and really to score on the low block, those shots. So very encouraging.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the biggest test, because we even saw it in these games a little bit. Just it needs to be stronger in that contact when he gets contact underneath and those big guys. A little more time with Cliff, maybe a little more time with the GAs and managers pounding on him with the pads and practice, push against him a little bit more. Just go up a little bit stronger. That'd be kind of one of my only critiques with that. Obviously, he may be toning it down a little bit in these exhibition games, and a lot of players overall might be a little bit just to avoid injuries. You don't want anything to happen in these exhibitions. Finishing up our front court, Malik Renew looked fantastic. I really like his footwork. I like continued to be good with all of that. I liked his movement, his communication. His defense looked a little bit better. While in the second game, I thought he got a little bit in trouble foul-wise. He was ended with 4 fouls, almost fouled out. A few little ticky-tacky things that he would get him in trouble last year. So hopefully he continues down a better route for that. But obviously the big story with him was going 2 for 3 from 3. That was just impressive. If he can add that to his bag and hit that consistently, that's impressive for what that opens up for Indiana, because we will see him at the 4 in the starting role, but we will see, like we did many times, where he's out there at the 5. And if you have a 5 like that can get out and do that, that's just fantastic. Your thoughts on Malik?
Yeah, and Chad, I'll do that. I'm echoing back. Text me. I can hear myself in my ears. I'm going to turn it back to you and something fixed because people are even saying that you hear yourself. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that would be.
It might be just your. I got a little bit of echo on you. Yeah. So, but yeah, overall, I really like what our front court is doing this year. I like what we can produce with those guys. And then the best part of that is when you have a three-piece front court that's as good as these guys are, you get kind of concerned about, well, when these guys sit down, what do you have that's coming in after? And Anthony Walker is just so exciting to have him, his experience. And I think that's the main thing that you kind of, or at least I took away in this game from having Anthony Walker in there, was his knowledge of the game and his awareness and his just, you can see his veteran attitude of the college basketball game. He has been in the situations. He just instinctively knows where he needs to be. There was points in the first game against UIndy where they went to a zone, and I thought that he was able to flash at the free throw line in good moments and facilitate a pass through and crack through that zone many times. And just his hustle plays, he just knows where to be, and that just shows from guys that are instinctively. It's the kind of things that you see when Anthony Leal would get in last year and when he's in this year, where guys that have been in programs and have been in college for a while just kind of know where to be and what to do. Obviously, beyond that, we've got Peyton Sparks. Little sad to see him get injured the way he did, trying to do something he probably shouldn't have, getting a little too cocky, trying to take the ball coast to coast, and seemed to have rolled his ankle of some sort. He's been in a boot and everything, just relaxing it. All reports should be that it's pretty minor. It's probably just a sprain of some sort out of the Marion game, but that was probably just precautionary. You don't want to risk further injury, but I really like what you see from him as well, and that extends what I said from Walker, the same thing to Peyton Sparks as well. He was moving great. He had that great spin move, just a big bull of a guy. When we go against these rough and tough Big Ten centers that we're going to face this year, he's going to be a great bright spot for this team to be able to kind of take care of things, get them going through the right way. I mean, it's great to see what we're going to be able to get from him moving forward this season, and hopefully he's on the men's a little bit quicker. We haven't really kind of shifted. I'll shift back to kind of our starters and talk about Trey and X. I like what I saw from them. I'm probably a little bit harder on them as far as my critiques in these two exhibition games. I thought that I didn't see as much offense from Trey as I would have liked to have. He felt like he was more of the facilitator, trying to find other guys' shots. He wasn't as bullish for his own shot. I'd like to maybe see more of that from him. Xavier Johnson, I think, had overall a fairly good game. The second game, he was 3 for 6 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3. Is still good with the turnovers. Good with the fouls, and I guess that's the overall thing that I will take from it in the between the two games is that in the first game, I think the team finished with 21 assists and 10 turnovers. In our second game against UIndy, team finished with 21 assists. Excuse me, that's the UIndy game. Yeah, it was 21 assists and just 10 turnovers. In the Marion game, Indiana finishes with just 2 turnovers. So that's pretty incredible as they go. Martha's trying to reconnect things, get things going, see if Martha can get back on with us. But really like what we saw again from our guards. And now, obviously, the next one to talk about, something that IU fans are going to fall in love with, I already have. And he gets big cheers in the second game, is Gabe Cupps. We were all, I know, really excited to see what we would get from him going into this off season. A lot of hype around it, knowing that he is that worker. He is that guy that's up every morning, his breakfast club, getting work in, figuring things out. And it showed the minute he got in that he was kind of a calming factor in that first game, when I really thought in the UIndy game that the starters came out a little rusty, a little bit just kind of not clicking the right way. I thought that second unit came in and the ball moved a little bit better in that first game, and Gabe Cupps was a main example of that. His defense is what is just really amazing and staggering. I had kind of tweeted out before we even got into these exhibition games that I was kind of excited to think about our backcourt and their defensive attack. Other teams bringing the ball up and the struggles that they're going to have going against Xavier Johnson and Trey Galloway. And while that is true, and I will, again, nod to those two for what they did, it is also true and doesn't fall off at all once you get over to Gabe Cupps, when Gabe Cupps gets in. I mean, again, that second game, the Marion game, he was not in for 10 seconds. And the very first in ball, bringing it up, he knocks it away, passes it off to CJ Gunn for a dunk. Gets 2 great alley-oops as well. Great assist guy, and you've seen from the Ware, and then CJ Gunn flying through the ceiling, the athleticism that guy has, making that amazing alley-oop dunk as well from Gabe Cupps was just amazing to see. And switching over to CJ Gunn. CJ Gunn is just that fireball, that spark. He reminds me a lot of Troy Williams in the regards that he's a loose cannon to a degree, but he's a loose cannon that you don't want to stifle at all. You want him to stay that crazy. It hasn't quite gotten to the point, and maybe it will, where we used to, I know, watch Troy handle the ball and we'd go, no, Troy, don't do it. No, yes. And he'd make amazing plays. He'd make the impossible happen. And while I don't think I've seen that quite yet from CJ as far as a nerve-wracking sense, I think that he will be a lot better and settle down as we go. The 3-point shot hasn't fully been there for him. Obviously, that's something that we are going to count on him. He was 0 for 2 in the first game, and then in the second game, he was 1 for 1. So that's with 11 minutes in the first game, and he only played 8 minutes in the second game. So he gets in the rotation a little bit. We'll see how that expands out as the year goes on. If he can start making those shots, then he will obviously get his foot in the door a little bit more into these games. But I do love what kind of energy and just excitement he brings. He's one of those that is going to get Assembly Hall just fired up. He's up there making those dunks and then just going to the crowd, getting them going. And honestly, I actually saw that from Anthony Walker as well. He's another kind of crowd just juicer, I would say. Gets that juice going from the crowd, gets everyone excited, gets Assembly Hall at full throat. So very happy to see what those two and the energy that those two bring off the bench for IU. Caleb Banks, we didn't see him in the first game. He was nursing that groin injury. When we knew that Peyton Sparks was going to be out, that was obviously more aware that we were going to see some minutes from Caleb Banks. Thought he had a decent game. He ended 3 for 8, 2 for 4 from 3. So good to see him taking those 3-point shots in 12 minutes. Was a little lost and a little rusty. And again, I think that was his first game back. So that is likely to be seen and nothing out of the ordinary for him. Just got to get back in the swing of things and figure things out. So something that he'll get back and he'll just continue to kind of build off what we saw, hopefully, from last season from him. He was that kind of glue type player, a player that would just kind of get things done for IU and everything. So again, overall, exhibition games looked really good. Some things to take away, obviously, is the effort. The effort is what you want to see out of these games. Obviously, there's going to be some troubles here and there. There's going to be some guys getting into a little bit of foul trouble when they normally wouldn't be. Just they're rusty. Some turnovers normally happen in these games too, because guys are trying to do things that they normally wouldn't do, or they're trying to figure out each other and how to play with each other. So turnovers will happen. But amazing to say, even saying that again, IU only had 2 turnovers in that second game. So it'll be exciting to see now what Indiana's able to do moving forward. We have our first game tomorrow against Florida Gulf Coast. That's a 6:30 p.m. on BTN Plus. So keep that BTN Plus subscription going. It's been a great subscription to have. I mean, shoot, after the the Marion game, I was able to switch over during halftime to the volleyball team doing playing Rutgers and doing really well. And then was able to also, after that, even switch over to the soccer game. So a great time for IU athletics, seeing everyone play. And we'll be able to see some women's games on BTN Plus as well. Also, shout out again to a fantastic weekend for Indiana sports. IU winning in football against Wisconsin. We had the Colts game was here in Charlotte. I live in Charlotte and was able to go to it. So I am, I guess, a lucky rabbit's foot for the Colts as well. So a great win for them last night and a fun game to attend here in Charlotte. So if we want to start a GoFundMe to send me to all the rest of the Colts games, we will start that going. I doubt that. I'm not the lucky thing. Just the Panthers are struggling as well. But again, a very exciting season ahead, I think, for the Hoosiers. Some great things to see, some great things to pick out of this team. So exciting to see what they can do for us this year and everything. Excited to see what ups and downs come. If this team can stay healthy, I think the sky's the limit. For me, going into this season, there were obviously a lot of questions. Everyone was asking, what can this team be? And nothing has qualmed my excitement. Nothing has qualmed my optimism, because I tend to be a little bit more on the optimistic side of those predictions for teams. And I'm very excited for this team. I'm excited for what they can do. I'm excited for what they're going to bring day in and day out. And obviously it's going to be a hat hung again on defense. And the offense is going to be very fast. They're going to want to get down the court, and they are going to they're going to shoot more threes, and that's exciting. The volume's going to be up. It was up in the second game, and hopefully we'll continue from there. So that will do it on this edition of Hoosier Morning After. Thanks for being with me. We'll get Martha all tuned up again and figured out, and have Martha back with us on the next show. Next show will be delayed at least one day. So look for Hoosier Morning After Florida Gulf Coast on Thursday morning. We'll be there with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for those with me on chat today. I see you guys very active in there. I appreciate you guys being with us. Thanks to Bob Thompson for producing the music you hear on the show. We'll see you next time. Until then, go out there, have yourself a wonderful day. And as always, let's go Hoosiers.